Hello friends, my name is Dasha. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a brand new book tag that was started by my friend Ray over at Bookmark Chronicles called the Ringing in the New Year tag. So I will link her original video down below so you can go check it out. I really like the questions that she had, so I thought this would be a really fun one to do. So without any further ado, let's get right on into it. The first question is, what is the best book or series that you've read this year? So if you know me at all, my favorite book of the year and of all time now is Circe by Madeline Miller. I will definitely talk more about this book in my best books of the year video. If that is already up, I will have it linked right here. But this is basically the story of Circe, who is a witch that is briefly featured in the Odyssey. But Madeline Miller kind of opens up her story a little bit and talks more about her entire life. And it's just so breathtakingly beautiful. It is so incredible. I was absolutely spellbound from like the first page, and I love this book with my whole ass heart, guys. It is absolutely incredible. The next book is, what authors have you discovered this year that you want to read more from? And I'm gonna be super boring and go with Madeline Miller. I know I just talked about her, but I also did read her other book, The Song of Achilles, this year, and Circe and The Song of Achilles were just like spellbinding, breathtaking. She is absolutely incredible at how she crafts her stories, and I can't get enough of her writing style. I think she truly does something special with the Greek myths that she retells and the Greek tales, and I would read anything that she came out with, even if it's not like a favorite story of mine. I think she just has something really special, and I'd love to read, like, she's an auto-buy author for me now. I'll read whatever new book she comes out with. The next question is, what is the best book turned TV/movie that you read this year? Now, if you've been on my channel at all, you know that I'm reading through the entire A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin. This is the series that inspired A Game of Thrones, the TV show, and oh my god, I am still very much in love with it. I didn't read a lot of adaptations this year, and I didn't really watch a lot of them either, but I have watched Game of Thrones before I read this, and reading it has just been such an incredible experience. I think that it really helped to watch it first too, because now I get to imagine all the characters. I think all the casting choices were fantastic, so getting to read this and imagine all the characters in their, casting was really cool, and I love how they managed to capture the story and how broad it is and how much stuff is going on all the time. I thought that the adaptation for TV, for the most part, was like spot on. It really captured the feeling, how dark and gritty the world is, and how morally gray the characters are. Obviously, I feel as though it's a lot better done in the books, but overall, I really love the show and how they made this come to life. And reading it has been just an absolute pleasure, so. The next question is, have your reading habits changed at all, and have you explored any new genres? And I will definitely say that I've read more this year than I ever have any year in my life. So as of filming this video, I have completed 70 books, if I'm not mistaken. And that blows my mind, because I, prior to then, have been in like a massive 4-year reading slump with my first 4 years of university. I barely read. I didn't know what books were coming out. I didn't know what was popular. I didn't know what I wanted to read. And getting back into reading, and part of the reason being that I discovered BookTube, has been just such a rewarding experience for me to experience all of these stories and to get so back into the book community like I was back when I was in high school. Is just so, I don't know if I could ever go back to not reading as much as I did this year. I really think that this year has been really special for me in terms of reading. In terms of new genres, I've always kind of read a little bit of everything. I definitely got into thrillers. I never read those when I was younger. I mainly, when I was younger, read things like fantasy or kind of contemporaries. So definitely got more into things like thrillers and horror, which has been really fun. But other than that, I've always been someone that read everything from nonfiction to classics to fantasy, so I definitely stuck with that this year. The next question is a bit of a difficult one to answer. It's, what's your favorite ship or character that you've read? And I had so many incredible characters to follow this year on their adventures. I absolutely loved Jovis from The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This is another one of my favorite books of the year. It absolutely blew me away, and I absolutely love Jovis, who is a smuggler, that kind of goes from island to island in this world. He's a bit morally gray because smugglers are by nature criminals, but he has a bit of like a soft streak in him. And then he has this incredible talking animal sidekick, which is a trope I usually don't like, but it worked so fucking well in this case. Mephi is the cutest little creature. Watching him learn how to speak and communicate was the most darling thing I've ever seen, and I absolutely loved those two. I also want to give a quick shout out to my boys Locke and Jean from the Lies of Locke Lamora. I read this recently, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but their bromance in here is incredible. I love seeing those two on page together. I would follow them to the ends of the fucking earth, to be quite honest with you. So the next question is, have you started planning your 2021 TBR, and how many books do you plan to read? So I set my Goodreads goal this year for 50 books, and I did surpass it, but I think I will keep it at 50. I have a lot of things planned for the next year. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to read. I don't want to set myself up for failure by putting a higher number. And generally, I just don't want to have my hobby stress me out. So I think I'm going to try to keep it to 50, maybe 52, you know, one for every week. I have a lot of like life changes happening, so I don't want to, like I said, set myself up for failure. As for TBR, I think I'm going to have a full video coming in the new year about that. But I did gather a lovely stack of books to briefly mention. So the first one I have is called The Book of S by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorse. So this is actually a really interesting one. It basically is made to look like an old library book. It's got like the binding and everything, that like the library binding and the little sticker and stuff, but then when you open it, it actually tells a story. There's an actual like book, like the Ship of Theseus is a book, but on the inside, two people are writing back and forth to each other within the library book, and there's little things slipped in here all over the place, little postcards, and there's like napkins, and there's, you know, printouts and pages and all sorts of stuff, and it's absolutely so cool. Extremely intimidating because I don't know how to read it, but there's even like different colors of ink demonstrating when they read each chapter and when they talked to one another. So on one page you can find like 4 different colors of ink because they went back to it. And from what I gathered, from when I kind of flipped through it, they're trying to solve the mystery of the author of this book, of V.M. Straka, and they kind of struck up a friendship over trying to figure out who this mysterious author is. So I'm really excited for this one. I have no idea what to expect, but I love the mixed media aspect of it. Another one that's super intimidating, but I really do want to read, is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. This is a very hefty classic. My mom read it as a kid and she hated it. She said there was a lot of actual like wartime mention in here, which is up my alley, so I'm not too mad about it. So this one is definitely on my list. This one will probably take me all fucking year to read, but you know what? It's happening. 2021, I gotta get through this bad boy. Another one I want to read that I didn't quite get to this year, makes me really sad, is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I know this one had mixed reviews. I know people have a lot of mixed opinions about this. I want to read it for myself. I like the premise. I love the book itself. Obviously, I own it, so I'm not gonna unhaul it without reading it. I'm curious to see where I fall in terms of enjoyment for this, but I am still kind of excited for it. I love me a magical school. Apparently, I absolutely hate myself because I'd really like to start the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. I have the first book here, The Eye of the World. This series has about 14 books plus like a prequel. I don't know why I hate myself so much. I'd love to find out, but yeah, I'm starting this year. I'm really excited to start it. I think everyone else's love for this series has convinced me that I will also absolutely love it. I also really want to read The Secret History by Donna Tartt this year, so I am not like the biggest fan of the whole dark academia aesthetic. It's not really my aesthetic, but I do think that I mean, I love the classics. I do study the classics a little bit. I do really enjoy them. So I feel like this book would have something of interest for me in terms of the aesthetics of it for the classics, not for the dark academia. But also it's just one of those books that everyone really loves and then a few people really hate. So I'm really curious to see where I fall. I hope I absolutely love it. I have read If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, which is kind of like a Shakespeare knockoff of this, and I did not like it that much. So I'm thinking that this might be much more my speed. And the final books I want to mention is the Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. So I have read A Darker Shade of Magic and I gave it 3 stars. I found it kind of forgettable. I read it last year and I don't remember what happened at all. So because I did pick up the other 2 at the thrift store as well for really, really cheap, I thought that it might be worth a shot. Everyone loves this series. Plus, the first book wasn't bad. I just completely forgot everything that happened in it. So I'd like to maybe reread it now that I kind of know the writing style and the world a little bit and see if I can really enjoy the other 2 books. So that's gonna be a little teeny tiny project for next year. The next question is, will you be participating in any kind of readathons or reading challenges? And absolutely, I love me a good readathon. I had so much fun this year participating in like Tome Topple and the Clear Your Shit readathon and Becca's Bookoplathon. I think that it's so incredible to see how much work goes into a lot of these. And it's so much fun to participate, especially in like themed ones. And I just cannot wait to keep, you know, forcing myself to read a little differently. And I love seeing all the prompts people come up with and how unique they are and how they fit into different, you know, themes. So I'm really excited to keep going with some fun readathons. As for reading challenges, actually, yes. So there's actually a couple of them. So Kayla over at Books and Lala usually hosts a buzzwordathon. I think it's a couple times a year she normally hosts it, and there's like 1 word and you have to read as many books with that word in the title. And this year for 2021 she's changed it up a little bit and there's gonna be 1 word as a prompt for every month. A word or a theme, I guess, because some of them are a little more general, like galaxy or time of day. So I really want to participate. I feel like it could be really, really cool to kind of see if I manage to get through all 12 prompts. I'm already starting to kind of build a bit of a TBR, just kind of thinking what books I own that could fit into some prompts, what books that I was really anticipating that could fit into some of the prompts. So I'm really quite excited for the buzzwordathon. I'll link Lala's announcement video down below so you can go watch it yourself if you do want to find out more about it. She explains it probably a lot better than I can. And I also kind of wanted to start what's known as the Rory Gilmore Reading Challenge. So if you've ever watched the Gilmore Girls, Rory is a bookworm and a really good student, and she loves reading and literature, and she's almost always seen at least once in every episode like reading a book or with a book, and someone incredibly compiled every single book that was in the show. There's about 400 of them, so I thought I would kind of take a step back, rewatch the show because I was due for a rewatch anyways, and then see what she was actually reading and what was actually mentioned instead of like if they were a movie, for example, because that has happened a lot. Or if it was just like a passing mention, it wasn't like Rory reading it. But I do want to, you know, rewatch the show and see what Rory reads and maybe read some of those as well. I think it could be a fun way to connect to the show on a different level. So keep an eye out for that. I might make like a mini series about that. And the last question is, do you have any resolutions, whether it be for booktube reading or otherwise? And I have a whole video coming on my 2021 bookish goals and channel goals and all that stuff, so I will definitely go more in depth in that one. But overall, I just want to keep reading widely. I want to continue participating in the booktube community. I absolutely love being here. It's been so much fun so far. And I definitely want to get my own TBR down because I'm like looking at the books piled around me and I'm like, I need to get my shit together. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you want to do this tag, I tag you. I'd love for the word to get out and for people to check out RAE'S video, which again will be linked down below. My social media is also linked down below. You guys can always come talk to me there. Other than that, I will see you in the next one. Bye!